Uh, I guess the one thing I can go back and remember is not knowing who my real father was. After my younger brother was born, a couple of years after me and my twin brother was born, he took off. Other than that, we never had much of a father figure in our lives, and until I got it, until my mother put me into Kempo, and my sensei became my father figure. Um, from the age of 7, I grew up in a strip club, and that's all I knew was nightclubs, alcohol, naked people. So it's all I can, it's everything that I remember. Growing up was a little, it was different. It wasn't like people would say how fortunate I was to grow up in a place like that. I never thought of it as fortunate. Um, Watching my mom work hard and doing things that I didn't know it was wrong, but I guess I just didn't. After a while, it just wasn't something that I cared for anymore. Even though I ended up working for her most of my life. Um, I guess my first encounter with death was at the age of 11. I lost my twin brother, Jacob. We were riding our bikes, uh, coming down. It was coming from Sandy's, and you know how the twists and turns go. And we're riding our bikes. We're going down the hill, and my my jeans got stuck in the I guess the spoke, the where the chain goes, and I fell over, and I'm trying to move. And back then bikes were pretty heavy, and being at 11 years old, I was a. It doesn't seem like it now, but I was a small little scrawny runt. And I remember my brother telling me, "Get out of the road, get out of the road," and I couldn't move. Next thing I remember, he came and he pushed me out of the way, and he got hit by the truck. Um, that was that was the first encounter with that I had. By the age of 16, my younger brother, he was beat to death for being gay. Uh, I have no problem with gay people. I didn't, I don't think anybody should have to die like that. You know, it's almost as being, it's almost as bad as being stoned to death. It's just, it must be a horrible way to die. Uh, when I was 17, my older sister was raped and she contracted HIV. By the time she found out anything, she already had full-blown AIDS, and she ended up committing suicide. So out of all my mom's children, I was the only one left. And I gotta hand it to my mom, even though she was a mama son, she never looked at me and said, "It should have been you." She never said, "I, I wish it wasn't them." She never said anything like that to make me feel it was just me and her. When I graduated high school, throughout high school, I wrestled. I got a scholarship, a wrestling scholarship, and I had a choice of 3 different schools, which is Syracuse, uh, Michigan State, or UCLA. I chose UCLA. I did my best to keep up with the grades. Unfortunately, by the end of my junior year, I couldn't keep up with my grades anymore, so they had to release me from school. From there, I enlisted into the army. I did one tour in Iraq. I came home. I got married to my first wife. I remember the day that I found out she was pregnant. My first daughter, Asia Renee. Asia was just like me. She was really rambunctious. Um, my mom had a really weird sense of humor. For one 4th of July, she had me hold a firecracker, and she had me light the firecracker, and she was with the camera, and she was like, "Okay, hold it, hold it," and the firecracker went off, and it pop, and then she took the picture. What was really bad about that was my daughter did that to her brother, because I did that to her. It was like a family tradition thing, but you know, it's okay. You're gonna get to do it to your younger sibling, you know. You know, it was. My mom was like, "Don't worry, you're gonna get to do it someday to your younger brother." Okay. Um, then Mikey was born. Jason, Tanya, Jack, and David. And I realized that my two daughters were more like me than my son. My sons were very quiet, very easygoing, smart. My daughters are very no kuruku. They're no good. My mom put them in judo, and that was like the worst thing she could have done because by the time they were like 16, they're flipping their boyfriends all over the house, and I'm just watching this. I'm like, oh, you guys just gonna let them do that to you? And they're like, okay, that's how you guess you guys like to get beat up. But I remember watching them grow up. Our first marriage that ended really bad. Came home from work one night. I found my wife in bed with my best friend, and I just got done paying off that house. Just got done paying off that house. So I looked at her. I said, you know what? I can't live here. You can have the house. So I grabbed my 6 munchkins and I showed up at my mom's house at like 2:30 in the morning. Mom's like, oh, so you finally figured it out? I'm like, yeah, yeah. And she sees all six walking after. She goes, oh, look like you're gonna have to rebuild. They had more rooms. Anyway, I went back to work for my mom at a club, and I met this other girl there. She became my best friend. Her name was Candace. Like my mom had to separate us because we have too much fun. Well, she was like 16 years younger than I was, but man, we just had all kinds of fun. And then she came up with this crazy idea, saying, "Hey, maybe we should get married." I'm like, "You out of your mind? Best friends don't do that. You don't marry your best friend. What are you nuts? It's just it's unspoken of. You never do something like that. Why? Because then you know when I'm lying. You know? I want you to know. I want you guys to know that." Anyways, for about a good 6.5 months, he actually literally chased me around the club with a ring, trying to get me married. So finally, I said, "You know what? Fine, I'll do this. But I want you to know if anything goes wrong, if anything goes bad in our friendship, I want you to know everything is going to be your fault. If the sky's blue, it's your fault. Whatever happens, it's going to be your fault." And she said, "Okay." And it was the best move I ever made. And she taught me what a real marriage was. And she accepted 6 kids along with that. Oh, I miss her a lot. Anyway, It was 2011. I lost my first child. My oldest, my first to come was my first to go. And Renee passed away from lupus. And she had this one boyfriend. His name was DJ. And he'd come over to the house, he'd call me dad. I hated when he called me dad. Don't call me dad. You know? But his entire purpose with my daughter was to, he was one grade above her, he graduated. His entire purpose in life was to go to college, get a degree to take care of my daughter. That was his entire goal in life. And I remember the day that my daughter passed away. I remember the look in his eyes, and I just didn't know what to say to him. And I realized how much he cared for her. And I walked up to him and I said, "Sorry, son, I'm sorry. I wish there was something I could do to make you feel better, but I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you I know what you're feeling because I don't. All I know is that I'm sorry." And his entire goal in life was just to take care of her. You don't find a lot of guys like that nowadays. You don't find a lot of people like that. Anyway, from then on, it was just between 2011 and 2013. I lost Michael, Jason, Tanya. Tanya was the last to go. Jack and David. The last one to the first one to go was my oldest daughter. The last one to go was my youngest daughter. And with her, it was a hit and run. And they still haven't found the guy who did that. In between that, I lost my mom, who was my best friend. Lost my wife, who was my other best friend. But mom, man, she just, even though she owned, even though she owned that strip club, I remember when she sold the strip club and she told me, she was like, James, God is the only way to go. And somewhere in between her selling the nightclub and her finding some faith, when she passed away, she said, God's the only way to go. And I didn't want to know God. I'm like, wow, man, look at everything he's doing to me. Look at everything he's taken. I mean, is this what he does? He just takes with no reason, with no explanation. And then my wife passes away from ovarian cancer, and I'm like, man. Now, let me go back a little bit and just say this. My mother was adopted by a family who couldn't have any children. A Japanese Hawaiian guy who was in the army, and a Jewish Australian lady who couldn't have kids. When he was stationed in Korea, they adopted my mom. On my dad's side, Esther and Samuel adopted my dad, and they only adopted one child each. So outside of that, I have no uncles, no aunties, no cousins. I'm just what's left. I'm, I'm what you have. I'm what you're looking at is what's left. And I was angry. I was very upset. I didn't want to know. I didn't want people coming up to me and telling me about God, about how He has the power to bring joy into my life. I didn't want to know that. I just gave up on life. I didn't care anymore. I didn't care whether I lived or if I died. I didn't care. Sometimes I hope that somebody would just run me down, or somebody would just take me out of my misery. And then lo and behold, 2016, I get to meet Craig. just rolls up on me, you know. Hey, man, man can't live on bread alone. Yeah, should come to the meeting. Yeah, sure, okay. 1 week went by. Second week, I thought, oh, I must have forgotten. 2 weeks, three. It was by the fifth time when he rolled up on me and he said, you know, this is the last $20 I have, but my daughter's telling me to give this to you. I'm telling you this right now. You know, I asked you how many times you keep telling me you're going to come and you don't show. I got scolded, man. Got reprimanded, spanked. Um, then I recall it was the it was 6 days later. It was Friday night. I go to sleep under the lights up over here. It wasn't raining. First time I'm sharing this publicly. It wasn't raining. I wasn't near any pool. It wasn't hot. It was kind of actually pretty cold. And I remember going into this dream where I'm swimming and I get sucked into this whirlpool. While I'm going through this whirlpool, I'm having a good time. It's like I'm flying. My head comes up above water. When I look to my right, I see some guy sitting on a throne. He's like, hey, James, there's this party over here, man. Everybody's here for you. And I looked at the people over there, and they looked like who they were supposed to look. They just, it's like it's like they had these forced smiles on their faces. They weren't happy, but they were told to be happy. They were under some kind of control. To my left, I look and I see just one person standing on the shore. There's something behind him, something bigger, something that can't can't put into, you can't contain. And this guy looks up to me and he says, I'm not going to knock much longer. You have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. I woke up. The cardboard I was laying on was wet. Not the whole, it's the out. Right on. Holy Spirit. Yeah, cuckoo. Imagine what I felt like when I got up. So there's this outline of my body on this cardboard that's just wet, and I stand up and I look at that. Now I don't know if I ever showed you, Craig, right above where I was sleeping. Did I show you that? Right above where I was sleeping. It's like there's, how do I explain it? Like Jesus on a cross. Yeah, it wasn't there before. So if anybody says that miracles don't happen, I guess that's a lie because that was a miracle. I remember just standing there looking at all this, and I got on one knee and I said, you know, God, I don't know how to pray. I don't know. I don't know what to say to you. I don't even know how to, I don't even know where to begin. I said, but I'm angry with you. I'm angry. And I'm not sure if I deserve to know a reason. I'm not sure if if I even should get a reason, but all I know is that you're the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything down here. I mean, who am I to argue? That that morning, I showed up on the other side. I walked in. I walked out. Craig was, Craig was chasing me. So I go in. I do it, and I continue to come. And then 2018, I got baptized. Two of my brothers. That's the day. That's the day that the devil was pissed the heck off. I'm gonna tell you why, because he lost one of his best soldiers that day. He lost one of his best soldiers. Because the things I see myself doing today. Imagine, imagine if I had put any of that effort, if I had kept going the wrong way. Thank God, thank God I was saved. But I can tell you this, he was pissed because he lost one of his best soldiers. I remember being baptized. I remember being in that water. I remember coming up. I remember being prayed over. And it was coming out, but it wasn't coming out. I started to I started to speak in tongues, but then it was like he was holding me back. The enemy was just holding. He said, I'm not going to let you go. I'm not going to let you go. Until I said, you have no power over me. And he let me go. And I started to speak in tongues. That's the day I realized where I needed to go in my life. Prior to that, I got a job. I lived in somebody's garage. And I realized that's not what I was supposed to do. That's not where I belonged. I belonged out there on the street so I could reach other people. Now I realize why my family had to go home. It wasn't a punishment. It's because he loved me. He took them home because he loved me. And he could love them a whole lot more than I could ever love them. Do I miss them? Yes. Do I wish they were still here with me sometimes? Yes. There's times where I reminisce about the Christmases. Me and my siblings ripping open Christmas presents and grandma saying, make sure you put all that inside of the trash. Listening to my mom say the same thing to my kids. And I would tell them, make sure you put all that in the trash. I say, that's your mom. You know, I have no regrets. Everything that's happened in my life happened for a reason. It happened for a purpose. Everything happened the way he wanted it to happen. There's times when, the one question maybe I would have had at one time was, why didn't you come sooner? Why didn't I allow you to be in here sooner? So it wasn't my plan. It was my plan for you to come now. What I do out there has nothing to do with me. It has to do everything with him. I just said yes. I just gave up and I said yes. You know, and one thing I realized about about being one of God's servants is it's either you're all in or you're all out. He's not looking for part-timers. He's looking for people who are just going to come in on a Sunday or a Saturday. He wants people who are going to be there all the time. And I and when I so I said, fine, I'm all in. I'm all in. And for someone like me to give up that much control over my life, it was difficult at first because I was a side seat driver. He'd be like, we're going here. I said, no, we're not. We're going that way. But I want to, no, I'm doing it this way. No, you're not. I'm doing it that way. Well, who the heck do you think you are? I'm God. Who the heck do you think you are? My bad. That one's on me. My bad. Okay. I have no regrets. I have no fears. I don't I don't feel the what ifs, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I don't worry about my past. I don't worry about tomorrow. just today. What I have right now, at this moment, this is everything. And I treat it as if this is going to be my last moment. He has given me a joy that is, I can't even comprehend. People will say, man, so much was, he goes, yeah, but he took so much from you. Why? Because he loves me. This was his plan. And I couldn't be held back by being a father, a husband, if this is what he wanted me to do. Who am I to tell him no? This was his plan. Hey, it's like I was telling Craig, hey, I'm going to say yes because look at what happened to Jonah. He said no, and look at what all the man, look at all the crap he had to go through, and he still went there. and courtesy of a whale and being thrown up on the beach. And then he tried to get some shade, and these things comes out and just eats the plant up. And I was like, man, you should have just said yes, dude. You should have just said yes. I wouldn't have anything any other way. No other way. It seems like a lot has been taken from me, but I'll tell you this. More has been given to me than has been taken away. And people may not look at it that way, but I know that. I feel that every day, right in here, right in my soul. I feel it. Because that part that was missing, he's filled it. And he's filled it all the way to the top. I know what it's like to have a lot. I know what it's like to have nothing. And I tell you this, it's not about what I have here. Nothing. Everything I work for, I'm building my treasure there. I'm running that race to get there. You know, it took one person to continuously kick me from behind to make sure I came. I love you, Chris. You know that. I love you, Stan. I love you, Tom. I love you, Terrible. You guys, when I feel like it's getting too much, I don't ask myself. They have these bands that says WWJD. What would Jesus do? And I need to think about it. What would Jesus do? Is what did Jesus do? What did he do in that situation? And can I follow that? I've been what's the word I'm looking? I've been writing, drawing things on public.
Journaling.
I've, I've been vandalizing.
Journaling, Jimmy.
Vandalizing just 4 letters. J-O-N-E. J1. My friend Frank asked me, what does J1 stand for? What? Jimmy's number 1? I said, nah, man. Jesus first. Jesus first. That's what it is. Jesus first. And you made me another man who would take that kind of punishment for me. I didn't deserve that. But you know what? I'm worthy of it. I'm worthy of what he's given me. And what he's given me, I take seriously. I go out there to tell people it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be frustrated. But just know this. You have to let that go and understand that that's God's plan. It's not our plan. It's not on our time. It's not what we want to do. It's not how we want to do it. You know, It's just like they say, you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. You know? You name me one time that you've actually made plans and it actually went according to plan. Not ever. You know why? Because God says, watch this. Huh? 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 Look at that. Thought you had it all planned out, didn't you? No. He wants us to know he's there. He lets me know he's there all the time. Somebody said, how do you know when you have a relationship with God? When you start arguing with him. That's how you know you're in a relationship with God. When you start arguing with God, you're, but yeah, we're going to do this. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. You want to bet? No, because he's going to win. People say that, some people have come across me and says, man, it must be tough, like, living in Job's shadow. I'm like, no, I'm nothing like Job. I said, Job sat there with two other friends, then he got upset and he started talking back to God too. I never did talk back to God. I didn't always agree with what he was asking. I didn't understand why it had to be that way, why I couldn't have a job in a home. But then I realized, gee, man, look at the opportunity I have. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay its head. I get to follow in that. Holy monkey! Whoa! How cool is that? How cool is that? How cool is that? That I get to walk in those footsteps. I'm allowed to walk into those footsteps. I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near this man, not even close. But I get to walk. I get to walk that walk. That walk that he walked, the walk that Paul walked. The scale fell, those scales fell from my eyes. And the day I said yes, I'll control it. I'm like, you go ahead and lead me wherever you want to lead me. I'm your vessel. Use me however you use me however you see fit to use me. But if anything goes wrong, it's your fault. And he said, okay. He hasn't steered me wrong. He hasn't done me wrong. And when he says that if you follow him, he will give you joy that is unbeknownst to man. Like I said, it seems like I've lost a lot, but I've gained so much more. I mean, I can actually stand here and I can smile about everything that I've gone through. I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with all this. I'm okay. It doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. Don't get me wrong. There's been times where I've been sideblinded a couple of times, where the enemy has come in, tried to say, hey, what if I could give you everything back? You can't. You can't. Because there's nothing that you have that I want. Everything you have is for the moment. I'm not for the moment. I'm for the eternity. That's where I want to be. So, all I know is when I get up there, I'm going to ask God if I can hold my sign on one of the streets. What I was going to feel about that. You standing there with my sign. Silver, pieces of silver. Hungry. No. Get over here. Uh, he's- Jesus went up there to make a place for us, mansions. I just asked for a cardboard box. I realize what I can live with. He's taught me what I can live with. And as long as I have him, I need not much more. Honestly, I don't need much more. I don't have a home. I don't have a job. This is my family. It's the only family I got. I don't have a bank account, but I tell you what, I got I got some riches up there that's immeasurable. I have a cheering section up there that's immeasurable. He saved me. He saved me. As angry as I was, he still took the time to save me. I was just sharing with Craig something I was reading in Isaiah. It said, "For I am your God. You know, I'm, I come to you with not knowing you. He's still he's coming at me, and that's what it was this whole time. It was him coming at me. I wasn't looking for it. I can tell you honestly, I wasn't looking for God. I wasn't, but he was looking for me, and he had a plan for me. He had something special. And you know what? He has something special for every single one of us that are his followers. Hey, I might not be the greatest of his, but at least I'm one of his. And to me, that's enough. I'm not looking for the big shiny star, the big, like the big, you know, sight, the big scene with the big. Hey, just to know that I was just a just one of those side actors that just showed up on screen. To me, that's enough. Just to know that I'm one of his. That's way more than enough for me. And I heard this song a few weeks ago. What's the name of the song?
I can only
I
imagine.
can only imagine. I, I just, it freaked me out because that's exactly how I feel with, man, like when I see his face, what am I going to do? How am I going to react? I mean, am I going to just stand there and go, duh? Or am I going to like do some cartwheels? I mean, well, I can't do cartwheels now. Like, you know, I can't. If I did a cartwheel now, I'd just destroy everything. But, but I don't know if, I don't know what I would do. Just to be in that presence, to be in that power, to be. Do I fear God? Yes, but not in a way I fear Him because I'm afraid. Power, the power He has to speak things into existence. Man, that guy can't do it. He can't do none of that. That's why I say when the day I got baptized, He lost a hell of a soldier. And I'm glad I chose this side because it says choose life or death. My brothers, I say choose life. At first, it was a little difficult, but I got to, I mean, I mean, after a while, he got me in check, and we started to work together. this point, there's only one set of footprints in the sand, because he's carrying me all the way. He's carrying me every step of the way. But I can't see my life without him in it. That would just be empty. I wouldn't have a meaning. I wouldn't have any cause. I remember when I sat there not caring about whether I lived or died. People ask me, "You afraid to die?" No, then you're afraid to live. I live for what God wants. And sometimes it's not easy. It's not always, it's not always the great, it's not always that great. But the end result, oh man, the end result, oh, he brings some good stuff in the end. Because you know why? His word never comes back void. His word never comes back void. It doesn't matter how weak I get, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. All things. I have no worries about that. When I feel that I'm feeling, it's not about me. Hey, you know what? The armor of God, that has to be put on. And you have to walk forward with the armor of God. You can't walk backwards. You can't turn around because armor only covers the front.
That's it.
Thank you, dear. The armor only covers the front, so you never turn your back. That armor will protect you from everything. The word of God, the love, the truth, the helmet of salvation, everything that's there is there for a purpose. It's not for you to turn around and run away. It's for you to move forward. And you can't move forward without two things, God and Jesus. That's the only way you move forward. I could go on, but I'm going to leave it at that. All I know is that I'm here today, and I'm good. I'm good, beyond good. And, I wish there was a way I could sometimes give some of this joy out to some of the people I see out there who are just on their last hinges of hope. And I walk up to them and I talk to them. But I will say this: since I've been out there, I'm not qualified to really do this, but I baptized over 75 people. I don't know if I might do, I don't know if there's a class to that, or I just kind of follow Craig's example of what he did it to me. Get in the water, get out, speak in tongues. No, I don't do that at all anymore. But the one thing I realize is, I can't. Not everybody can be saved. And I can never get down on myself for those who choose to go the other direction. All I can do is plant the seed. All I can do is let them know that there is a hope. There's a future, there's a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. There's a future, there's a hope. Isaiah 41:10. For I am their God, I am with thee. I will uphold thee with my righteous right hand. God has given me so much. And there's not enough ways I can thank him. And the best way I can thank him is by doing what he wants me to do. And that's the best I can do, to put a smile on his face. That's all I want to do, is put a smile on his face, so that way when I step up to him, I get to hear those words. Good job, my good and faithful servant. That's all I want to hear. That's what I'm yearning to hear. Because that's what to me, that's more than any amount of riches could ever buy. To hear that coming from God's mouth, whoa, job, I couldn't fit those shirts. That's when the smile goes across my face and said, yeah, I know I could do that. I love you guys, and that's it. That's my testimony.
Any questions? How can you question a man like that? All the answers, look at it.
No, I don't have all the answers.
I can. I was fortunate to be there the day that you were baptized. And I remember there's a lot of stuff that you left out of there because that day it was dark, it was windy, it was cold, and I thought Craig was nuts. He literally said, we're gonna baptize Jimmy today. And I was like, you wanna come? And I was like, yeah, okay. Totally unprepared. I mean, I was in long sweats actually, long sweats and a coaching shirt. And I mean, I had no shorts, nothing. But went straight to the beach, walked on the path, and I mean, it was, like I said, it was dark, it was overcast, it was windy, it was cold, and I mean, Craig just led Jimmy straight out into the water. We walked out straight into the water and just started praying over him. And during the time that we were there, nobody was there. When Jimmy was being baptized, there were several people that came out of nowhere to witness. They actually witnessed from a beach. I don't know if you remember, but they were standing on the beach watching what we were doing in the middle of that thing. And I saw the heads doing this, like, what the heck are these guys doing? And when Jimmy received the blessing, when he received salvation, he came out of the water. The sun actually broke out from behind the clouds and was shining down upon you. Because that was God's blessing at that time. And we heard the Spirit come out of you. Because that wasn't the first words that came out, we're not of the Spirit. It was not of the Holy Spirit. But I know as we were praying over you, he was gone. He left. He was history. And then the Holy Spirit took over you and you began speaking in testimony. I want to say testimony because you were speaking in tongues. And that we both recognized and God recognized because that's what you were empowered to do exactly what you're doing right now. So, it's not anything that you're not doing, Jimmy. It's what you are doing. And that's affecting people's lives, whether you're planting seed, whether you're growing it, whether you're growing faith in other people by what you do and what you profess. But you have your own ministry that you are reaching out to people, and I'm gonna prophesy right now. That ministry is gonna grow to hundreds before God takes you home because you're not done yet. You've only just begun. Amen?
Amen. I'm okay with that.
My question to you is, what's next?
It's up to him. It's all up to him. I leave it in his hands. Wherever he takes me, wherever he wants me to go, that's where I go. It's not about what's next for me, it's about what's next for him.
That's right.
And that's all that matters. It's about me like I said, it's about me putting a smile on his face. Just saying, okay, I'm okay with that. I may not always agree, but okay. But you know what? The end result always ends up with a smile on both our faces. Because he does know best. Of course, me being human, there's times when I will rebel with certain things. But in the end, I'm like, okay, fine. Okay. And I realized that I was rebelling. And I realized that by my rebelling, that's a sin. And that's when I need to repent. I need to step back and I need to say, okay, you know what? My bad. My bad. Sorry that I even questioned it. Because once again, who am I to question? The guy who controls the seas. You know, like the spirit that controls the weather, you know, the one who spoke this earth into existence. What am I arguing with him? I'm not. It's just for me to say yes. You know. I go back to what Jesus said. He said, ask for anything in my name, and my Father will give it to you. Here's where people forget to actually, the key thing to it all. If it's in my Father's will. It's not if it's in your will, it's in his will. I can ask for all the things I want. If it's not in his will, I'm not going to get it. I realize that the prayers that I pray, it's not unanswered prayers. No, they're answered because it means I'm not ready for something. And I'm okay with that. If I'm not ready for something, then hey, he knows if I'm ready or not. He should know. I mean, it took this long for him to get into my life. Darn, it took me like, how old was I? Like 55, 54, 56? You just have to, okay, I'm just going to jump right in now. God, waited all those years. But he got there. He got there. And I'm glad he did. It took him a while. That was his plan. Everything I went through is going to serve. It's going to serve a purpose. Everything that's happened to me is going to serve a purpose. And you know what? There's going to be just one seed that does not land on shallow ground. It does not land.
Oh, looks like we lost them, guys.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Oh.
Okay, Steve, I'm going to take off. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Okay, take care.
Yeah. Okay. God bless you. Thank you.